Hey guys, what's going on? This is Tyler, and today I am bringing you guys part 2 to What If Naruto Was a Saiyan. It seems like you guys really did like part 1, so today I'm here to bring you part 2. Now with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, let's just get right into it.
Hey, collecting rings like a Sonic. Bitches wanna party. My wrist getting heavy. Got 'em on a diet, yeah. Flex like I'm Hogan. Yo, bitch coming over. We respect.
Alright, so we start our story with a little bit of time passing after the Land of Wave saga, with Team 7 currently waiting for Kakashi since he called a meeting with them. This is where the group would encounter the Saiyan Trio, which this encounter kind of plays out similar to in canon, but Naruto this time would have more of a drive for beating Kankuro and Gaara, thanks to his Saiyan blood influencing him. After this, Kakashi would then come by talking about the Chunin exams, in which Team 7 would still want to go, and they would still pass the test. At that point, they would still enter the Chunin exams, and I feel like things would start to play out as per normal until Rock Lee stops Team 7 to challenge Sasuke specifically. Naruto gets annoyed seeing another guy take interest in Sasuke and not the stronger person, aka himself, and so Naruto rushes at Lee as Lee attempts to outskill Naruto by low sweeping him, but Naruto would be able to just dodge in time thanks to his far superior speed. He would jump to evade his low sweep and hit Lee with a sledgehammer that leaves a small crater in the ground. Lee did not expect that kind of force and it nearly knocked him out. Sasuke and Sakura are shocked at Naruto's power, but Lee then catches Naruto by surprise and sets up a primary lotus, but he is then stopped by Might Guy. After this, the team then signs in time, and the first round of the Chunin exams would still take place, being similar to its canon counterpart. I don't see really too many changes of Naruto being a Saiyan happen here because Naruto didn't even pass the regular test, and Naruto would still basically say the same speech, and this would lead into him passing the test. After this, the Forest of Death would then be Team 7's next trial, and they would still encounter Orochimaru eventually, and his snake would still eat Naruto. Without having shadow clones, Naruto feels like this is going to be the end for him until all of a sudden he would think to himself how if he dies, his team is going to meet their end as well, and he will never become the strongest or fight powerful opponents. Hell, he can't even settle the score with Sasuke. Naruto knows that this is the worst place for him to die, and as this sinks through Naruto's head, he would suddenly grow in size slightly, while his hair would be floating up as well, and his eyes would shift into a raging yellow. Naruto then shouts out loud, expanding a powerful explosive wave through the snake's body, causing it to explode. Naruto would then see Orochimaru, and Sasuke and Sakura would try to reach out to Naruto, but Naruto just can't hear them. His rage consumed him to the point to where he is powered up over 10 times, and the only thing he can take his power out on is the one who harmed his friends. That's right, Naruto is now in the Ikari state. He begins to completely dismantle Orochimaru, forcing him to extend his neck to bite Sasuke's neck and leave as fast as possible. Sure, Naruto may be a Saiyan, but Orochimaru doesn't fully know that by himself yet, and so I would still think that he would want that Sharingan clout, and he would still try and make a desperate attempt in giving him the curse mark. Naruto attempts to chase him, but his head would force him to stop, and he would then begin to scream out loud, bursting out chakra blasts around the forest, eventually collapsing due to power loss. The reason why Naruto kind of spurged out here is because I want to make a similar case to that of Broly when he uses the Ikari form, because I wouldn't think Naruto using it for the first time would be able to control it. Sasuke and Sakura after this encounter are then forced to make sure Naruto is alright, and Sasuke would be fatigued but not nearly as fatigued as before, and he would still be there to actually fight the Sound 3 briefly, but he would get bodied, and this would lead into Lee stepping in and still losing. Sasuke would then collapse, and he would still witness Sakura being tortured, forcing his curse mark to come in and break Zaku's arms. Sakura still stops Sasuke, and Naruto eventually recovers, which would conclude the second portion of the Forest of Death. After this point in the story, things start aligning with the canon timeline, and so they would basically pass through the Forest of Death eventually, and the third round of the Chunin exams would then begin. And these matches, for the most part, except for Naruto versus Kiba, play out as per normal, with Naruto beating Kiba but much easier than in canon. The reason why is because Naruto was actually a lot more powerful, and so he would just defeat Kiba easily by himself without resorting to farting in his face. Eventually, as we all know, he would train with Ibisu and eventually Jiraiya, and this time Jiraiya could actually teach Naruto some things that he thought he could never do, since Jiraiya has actually trained with the Saiyan before, that being Minato. This would lead into Jiraiya actually wanting to help Naruto with the likes of controlling some of the Nine Tails' chakra, along with having more mastery over his Saiyan side of techniques. For example, things such as flight and better chakra consumption overall. Naruto still learns everything he did previously in canon, but this time he is able to fly for brief periods of time, and this would come in handy later on, he believes. As we all know, Naruto vs Neji would then happen, and this version of Naruto just completely outclasses Neji in raw speed and power, even if his base form wasn't enough, which I think could be based on the growth he's receiving in battles. He has Kurama to rely on, and that Kurama aura in canon was already relative to Neji, and so since this Naruto is just stronger, logically QB Naruto would just be above Neji, and so Naruto doesn't have to beat Neji with some bullshit uppercut from the ground. Rather, he beats him straight up and proves that his destiny philosophy or whatever is complete bullshit. Anyways, as we all know, Gaara versus Sasuke would eventually happen, since I don't think any of the other fights would change, since they wouldn't. And this would lead into Sasuke and Gaara heading out into the forest with Temari and Kankuro, and in reaction to this, Naruto, Sakura, and Shikamaru then head out. But since Naruto is actually much faster and much more powerful than his canon self, and he can fly, I would say Naruto would actually arrive much earlier than Sakura would, and Shikamaru would still try and sacrifice himself, but Asuma would still come in and save him. Eventually, this would lead into Naruto fighting Gaara with Sasuke, and even before Sasuke is pushing himself to the point to where he's using his curse mark. And so Naruto would just completely bully Shukaku Gaara by himself with some help from Sasuke, even though it's a little hard for him since he did use a couple of Chidoris beforehand. And by a couple, I mean just one that significantly drains him. And so at that point, this would lead into Naruto versus Gaara, which takes place similar to in canon, but Naruto would beat Gaara kinda slightly easier than in canon, and he wouldn't completely fall to the ground with Gaara being fatigued with him. Rather, he would be standing up, telling him that this path that he's going down isn't the right way to go. I don't know, I feel like Naruto just standing up in that Endeavor type pose and then giving the Talk no Jutsu to Gaara, I feel like would be a little bit more significant than what we got in canon. But really, that's all the changes that really occur in this timeline, and Orochimaru would still kill Hiruzen, which would set up the Tsunade rescue arc. Now, with this arc, I don't see too many changes occurring, rather than just Naruto learning the Rasengan actually a lot earlier than in canon, probably way before the Kabuto fight would ever happen, and maybe Tsunade would earn Naruto's respect a lot earlier, or she would give him his respect a lot earlier. But I don't necessarily think too much would change. It's just a stronger Naruto, and Naruto would just beat Kabuto even harder, forcing Kabuto and Orochimaru to retreat slightly earlier than in canon, but that's really all I can see. In the end, Naruto would come back with a much more powerful jutsu, and at that point, Tsunade would also arrive as the 5th Hokage, and she would proclaim her spot. At that point, Naruto would go and visit Sasuke at the hospital, which would lead into their confrontation at the hospital, which plays out similar to in canon, but only this time, Naruto actually forces Sasuke to use the Chidori, rather than Sasuke at first kinda bullying Naruto. And the same would go in as in canon, with Kakashi intercepting just in the nick of time and throwing them both into the water tower. When Sasuke realizes that Naruto is significantly above him, he's just completely annoyed because he saw Naruto just completely bully Gaara, and now he just witnessed him having an even stronger jutsu. Naruto's constantly getting stronger, and Sasuke just doesn't like that at all. This would then lead into the Sound 4 eventually chumping Sasuke and eventually convincing him to join Orochimaru's side, which still plays out similar to in canon. If anything, Sasuke has more of a motive to leave, since this Naruto is way more powerful than him than canon Naruto. Similar to in canon, Shikamaru still sets up the Sasuke retrieval team as in canon, and the only thing that would really change here is only some minor things, and I'll just briefly go over those. Naruto wouldn't use flight at the beginning here, since he can only use it for a little bit, and they don't want to be seen or detected by the Sound 4, and so they are still ended up caught in Jirobo's trap, but in the end, they would still be freed. Choji and Neji's fights would take place along with Shikamaru and Kiba's, and the only difference here is that Naruto this time is able to use flight after Jirobo and Choji have their scrap. Only difference here is that Naruto would actually get jumped by Kimimaro, and this time being able to actually stand up to base Kimimaro, but eventually Sasuke would be freed and Naruto would want to go chase him down, and at that point Rock Lee would then arrive, taking Naruto's place in fighting Kimimaro, and Rock Lee and Kimimaro's fight along with Rock Lee and Gaara's fight with Kimimaro would take place as per normal. Now for Sasuke versus Naruto, I feel like Naruto at the start would be significantly above Sasuke, and this would push Sasuke to using his curse mark, and even if Naruto was stronger, the whole goal was to scratch his headband, and so I feel like Naruto would still go for that scratch and still get his lung pierced by Sasuke. He would regenerate from this, of course, thanks to his Nine Tails regeneration, and this would still lead into Sasuke leaving the village and Naruto leaving off with Jiraiya to go and train for about 2.5 years. And this would nicely conclude part 2 of What If Naruto is a Saiyan and the entirety of part 1. I know we went over this pretty fast, guys, but I want to try and end some series off, and I'm just done dragging things on. And so with that being said, I hope you guys did enjoy this video, and my name is Tyler, and now you guys can go and hear my outro. Peace out, guys.